I won the lottery and 8 billion was thinking of visiting my sick mother-in-law. I heard that my husband and my third child had a child and I left with a sneer. A backhand move made him repent. I was holding the lottery ticket that had just been paid. Fingertips are still shaking slightly. 2 billion tax deduction. The text messages from the mobile phone bank were on for a whole 2 billion. That string of odds and ends made me dizzy. I stood on the corner of the hospital corridor before I could digest it. This wealth from the sky to hear the ward. My husband's voice, Mom, you can rest assured. I've made all the arrangements. She's still in the dark. It was my husband's Lu Jiuan voice. With a sense of triumph that I've never heard before. It's my mother-in-law Wan Xiaoying. A weak but eager voice Yuan. That child is really a boy. Don't lie to me. In my life, I've been looking forward to having a big grandson and having a fake. The doctor confirmed that 3 kilograms 8 tails were white and fat. It's just that we have to hide in a suburban house before the full moon. After a while, I will ask her for divorce. At that time, the house and car are all joint property after marriage. I split half of her clean out of the house. Let's have a good time with our grandson. My footsteps like being nailed in place. The holding barrel in his hand crashed into the wall with a thud. Sprinkle a few drops of black chicken soup on your hands. I don't feel the pain buzzing in my ears. Repeatedly echoing the words boy hide divorce. Get married for 5 years. My heart and lungs are good for Lu Jiuan. He worked overtime. I waited until midnight for him to come home. His parents were sick. I run before and after to serve even his brother married. I also took out the dowry money I had saved and collected 50,000 yuan. I thought our days would get better, but I didn't think. He had already raised his mistreat behind my back and had a baby. Even my way out. I'm standing where I am. Silence for 3 seconds. Countless images flashed through my mind. When my mother-in-law was hospitalized, I took care of her. Lu Jiuan birthday. I scrimped and frugally to buy him a designer watch. When we first got married. To a lifetime of good vows to me these pictures. Like broken glass into the heart pain I breathless. But 3 seconds later, that little bit of remaining thought was completely shattered. I slowly crouched down. Lift the insulated bucket and walk to the trash can at the end of the corridor. Pouring down the barrel and pouring out into the trash can. My 5-year marriage seemed warm. In fact, it is already rotten and I stand up after pouring the soup. I wiped my tears, fingers ice cold. I pulled out my phone. I sent Lu Ziyuan a message. Can't bring the soup. Something came up at work. I'm leaving first. The moment it showed delivered. I left the hospital. The sun was blinding. Yet my whole body felt freezing. From today on, the Xinxinwan who gave everything she had, is gone. Now I fight for myself. Outside, a cold wind hit me. I realized. My palms were sweating. The soup burn. Was red and raw, pain spreading. Yet nothing compared to my heartache. I didn't go home. I didn't go to work either. That something came up at work. Was just an excuse I made up on the spot. I hailed a cab. And gave the address of a chain hotel not far from downtown. I needed a quiet place. To sort out my thoughts and steady myself. Once in the car, I switched my phone to silent. The screen was still on my chat with Lu Ziyuan. He still hadn't replied. He was probably still in that hospital room, celebrating his good news, soothing his baby-obsessed mother. I closed my eyes. The conversation in that room kept replaying in my head. Lu Ziyuan's smugness. My mother-in-law's eagerness. Like needles stabbing my heart. I remembered. However, the past 6 months, Lu Ziyuan had been acting strangely. He always claimed work kept him late. He even slept at the office. His phone was always on silent. Even when he showered. He took it into the bathroom. He never let me touch it. He used to be so tight with money. Buying anything over a few bucks meant discussing it with me first. But these past 6 months, he'd been spending freely. He smelled of another's perfume. I asked. He blamed a client. I believed him. My mother-in-law, since hospitalized, had turned cold. Before, when I brought her soup, once smiled and called me thoughtful. Lately, she either took 2 half-hearted sips or said she had no appetite. She even started making pointed remarks, asking when I'd give the Liu family a child. She was displeased. I thought she was just in a bad mood from being sick. I kept reassuring her that once she recovered, we'd try. Now I realize, it was never about me not having a child. She knew all along. Liu Ziyuan had another woman on the side. And pregnant. She awaited her grandson. The more I thought, the colder I felt. I can't just let this go. I gave 5 years of my heart and soul. I can't end up walking away with nothing. And now, with 2 billion in my hands, I have the resources. I'm confident I'll reclaim everything. I'll make them pay. The mistress too, once she appears. The taxi arrived at the hotel quickly. I booked a king room. First thing I did was lock the door. I turned off my phone and shut out the world completely. I sat on the edge of the bed, then turned my phone back on. I didn't look at Liu Ziyuan's messages. I searched for the area's top divorce lawyer. I picked the highest rated, best win rate. I dialed his number. The call connected almost immediately. A steady male voice came through. Hello. This is Attorney Fong. How can I help you? I took a deep breath, forcing down the trembling inside me. I tried my best to make my voice sound calm. Hello, Attorney Fong. I'd like to consult about divorce. My husband is cheating on me. He even has a child with his mistress. I want a divorce, and I want to fight for my maximum rights. Also, I have a personal asset that I need to protect from being split. When he heard about the affair and the child, Attorney Fong's tone grew more serious. Ma'am, in a situation like this, your husband is the at-fault party. When it comes to asset division, the court will lean toward the innocent party. What kind of personal asset are you referring to? If it's premarital property, lottery or inheritance, personal assets, those are not subject to marital asset division. It's a lottery win. I just cashed it in. After taxes, it's 2 billion. My personal asset. No hiding. I need my lawyer to understand the full picture, so he can make the most thorough plan for me. There was a few seconds of silence on the other end. Then Attorney Fong's slightly surprised voice came through. But he quickly regained his professionalism. Understood, ma'am. Lottery winnings are indeed personal assets. With proper documents, they won't be split. Gather evidence of his affair and child. For example, intimate photos or videos of him with the mistress, bank transfer records, and the child's birth certificate. These are all critical pieces of evidence in court. They can help you secure more rights. You can even demand emotional damages from him. I see. Attorney Fong, what should I do right now? I pressed on, my thoughts becoming clearer by the second. Don't let the pair Fong know you've found out. Don't reveal the news of your winning the lottery even if he cheated. Lawyer Fong patiently guides tomorrow morning. You can come to my office, we communicate in detail. I will help you draw up a preliminary Fong case and you can find a reliable private investigator. Gather evidence on Fong's infidelity and birth. The more detailed, the better. I hung up the phone and felt a lot more secure. Turns out I'm not alone. I have the confidence to 2 billion with the help of professional lawyers. I'm sure I can make Liu Ziyuan and mother-in-law. They paid for what they did. I leaned against the bed. Take out the phone after the boot. Sure enough, I saw some news from Liu Ziyuan. There are still 2 missed calls. The first one was sent half an hour ago. What's going on? Why can't the soup be delivered? Mom is still waiting to drink it. The second is what's so urgent about your company. I don't even answer a phone call. The third one is, Shen Qingwan, where the hell are you? Hurry back to the news. Looking at the news, I only feel ridiculous. He thinks of looking for me now, thinking of his mother-in-law waiting for soup. But he and his mother-in-law calculated how to get me clean when I leave the house. Why didn't you think about my efforts in the past 5 years? I didn't reply to him. Instead, he directly set his message as read. Then click on the mobile phone application store to search for private investigators. Select an organization with good reputation and strong confidentiality. I dialed the phone and made an appointment to meet early tomorrow morning. I'm relieved to have done all this. It's already dark outside the window. I have no appetite to eat. Just leaning against the bed and combing through all the details over and over again. Make sure there's no omission. I know. The next road will not be easy, but I am ready. From now on, I'm no longer the family that surrounds me. The Shinqingwan around the Lu Zhiyuan. I want to live for myself and take back everything that belongs to me. Let those who hurt me regret. I stared at the Lu Zhiyuan message on my phone screen. The fingertip hung on the screen for a few seconds and finally did not return it. At the moment of my heart only calm. No more than half of the old softness of the next morning. I went to Feng's lawyer's firm first. The law firm is open in the downtown office building with simple decoration. But he is a professional Feng lawyer in his 40s. With gold-rimmed glasses and my profile in his hand. Miss Shen's lottery voucher was carefully turned over. Tax payment certificates should be properly kept. This is the core basis for proving your personal property. You can't be wrong at all. He looked up at me and sounded serious. Besides, your marriage license with Lu Zhiyuan. A list of your marital assets, mortgage payment records, joint account statements, and the medical bills you paid for your mother-in-law. Get it organized. It proves your contributions. It'll help in asset division. I'd already prepared from my bag and handed them over. All of that's done. Also, I need to know, after the marriage, my parents paid 100K down payment. His parents put in 50,000, and we paid the mortgage together. How would that get divided? Lawyer Feng flipped through the paperwork and explained. The down payment, the 100,000 from your parents, is your separate property. The 50,000 from his parents, without a clear agreement stating it was a gift to both of you, would generally be considered a personal gift to him. Mortgage payments and appreciation are marital assets. Those get divided according to the law. But since Lu Ziyuan is the at-fault party, you can push for a larger share. I nodded, feeling more confident. Lawyer Feng drafted a settlement framework, laying out all my demands, including the house division, the split of joint savings, and a claim for emotional damages from Lu Ziyuan. Leaving the law firm, I headed to meet the investigator. The investigator's surname was Zhou, around 50, wearing a dark jacket, very businesslike. Mr. Zhou, I need you to investigate my husband, Lu Ziyuan. He fathered a child with another woman. The child is currently at a house in the suburbs. I need you to find out everything, the woman's identity, the child's birth certificate, and Lu Ziyuan's bank transfer records to her. Proof of them living together. I got straight to the point, handing over Lu Ziyuan's photo, his phone number, and the approximate address of that suburban house. Mr. Zhou took the materials and nodded. Don't worry, Miss Shen. I'll be on this around the clock. Solid evidence. Completely confidential. Lu Ziyuan won't suspect a thing. As for the fee, that's not a problem. What I want is the most thorough, clearest evidence possible, even if it costs more. I said it plainly. I knew. Evidence was the key to winning this case. It was worth every penny. Mr. Zhou quoted his price, and I transferred the deposit on the spot. We agreed he'd report back with initial results in 3 days. Then I remembered to see her. I bought her favorites instead. Soft cakes and fruit. And went to the apartment complex where Lu Ziyuan lived. The house was bought after marriage. I haven't been here much before. I just walked downstairs to the unit. I saw Lu Ziyuan coming back from the outside, hand carrying a baby bottle face. He paused when he saw me with a smile that could not be concealed. Then he came along pretending nothing had happened. Where have you been? I haven't been home these days. Mom is talking about you every day in the hospital. I looked at him with a sneer but no emotion. The company has something to deal with. Just finished coming to see Mom. I brought you something. Lu Zhiyuan took the bag in my hand. Let's put it in the living room. By the way, Mom, yesterday, said you want to eat your porridge at night. Go back to boil some and send it to him. His tone is taken for granted. As if my disappearance these days is just a small matter. As if I were still the same as before. It's the nanny around him and his family. I didn't answer. Followed him upstairs into the house after the mother-in-law lying on the sofa. Seeing that there was no expression on my face, I just said a sentence lightly. I came back and I walked over to her and put the soft cake on the coffee table. Mom, this is your favorite soft cake. Try it. The mother-in-law picked up a piece, tasted it and put it down again. Sai Qingwan not I say you. You've been so ridiculous these days. Mom's in the hospital. What is it like when you are not around every day? I look at her. Mom, I'm really busy with the company these days. I'll pay attention when I can't leave. By the way, I heard. You want to have grandchildren actually. Ziyuan and I are planning to have a baby. We'll try our best when you get better. I said that on purpose. I just want to see their reaction. Lu Zhiyuan's face changed. Mother-in-law but a bright eyes hurriedly asked really. Then you have to hold on to my body and look forward to holding it earlier. That's natural, but having children depends on fate. I couldn't wait. I smiled and said, but my heart was cold. After chatting for a while, I left on the pretext that the company had something to do. Out of the community I took out the phone. I sent a message to Brother Zhou. Let him focus on Lu Zhiyuan's recent whereabouts. Especially the contact with the woman. I know this scene is just beginning. I'm going to rip off their disguises a little bit. Let them know that my Shen Qingwan is not a soft persimmon. Out of Lu Zhiyuan's house. I drove straight to the bank without the slightest hesitation. The bank card in my hand that just arrived. Lying inside with a tax deduction for a whole 2 billion of this money. Is the biggest confidence in my life. It was also my hardest card to fight back. I found the lobby manager. Direct explanation of purpose. I want to handle the highest level of private banking. Segregated management of all funds. Not associated with any third Fong account. Including my husband's account manager. A look at the amount of money. The attitude immediately respectfully took me in personally. VIP room, MS Shen, you can rest assured. We will open an independent fund pool for you. All separate accounting for water will never be recognized. Couple's common property I put the original lottery ticket tax payment certificate. All award redemption records shall be handed over to the staff. Every document is repeatedly confirmed to ensure that there are no loopholes. I know very well in my heart that a huge fortune. Once mixed with marriage, divorce will be wrangling in the future. I can't give Lu Zhiyuan half a chance. Wait for all formalities to be completed. I got a message from Detective Zhou on my cell phone. Mission found out. Small 3 called Lin Wanting. The 24-year-old is indeed a boy this year. The father's column on the birth certificate says. Is to Lu Zhiyuan my fingertips. I returned 2 words and continued for less than 10 minutes. A series of photos sent over. There are Lu Zhiyuan holding the baby. A picture of a walk downstairs in a suburban neighborhood. He and Lin Wanting. Photos of him going in and out of the store together and late at night. Drive into that residential building until the next morning. Each of the driving records that just left is like a hammer. Hit me hard on the fantasy of marriage. I have no anger, only a calm. I put all the photos and video files encrypted backup. The cloud hard disk disk has these stored in 3 places. It will be the strongest evidence in court in the evening. Lu Zhiyuan's call finally came in. As soon as he got through, he sounded impatient. Qingwan, where the hell are you? Mom asked you to come over and make soup tonight. Did you hear? I leaned against the car seat and the sound was calm like a pool of deep water. I'm a little tired today. Take care of yourself. Lu Zhiyuan immediately raised the voice. Shen Qingwan, did you do it on purpose recently? My mother was ill and hospitalized. As a daughter-in-law, do you hide from your face every day? I asked lightly if there was someone else to replace me if I didn't go. Lu Zhiyuan, there was an obvious pause. The tone was flustered for a moment. What do you mean? My tone unchanged as to remind you. Mom, here, you have more snacks. Don't run out all day. Some secrets can't stay hidden. Silence lingered. Lu Ziyuan's voice had clearly weakened. I've just been busy with work lately. Don't overthink it. I wasn't overthinking. My laugh was ice cold. Lu Ziyuan. Remember this, heaven sees everything. Don't wait until the very end. When there's no way out. I hung up before he could say another word. Then I blocked his number without hesitation. In that moment, the last trace of affection I had for him died completely. I drove to the hospital. I didn't go up. I just sat in the car, staring at the inpatient building. I used to believe that if I was dutiful, understanding, and giving, I'd earn a harmonious family. But reality? 5 years of devotion repaid with schemes. And a plan to leave me penniless. She wants a grandson. Lu Ziyuan wants a son. The three of them, one big happy family. And me? What am I to them? A free maid. A temporary stepping stone. Furniture they'll toss when I'm no longer needed. I sat in the car till dark, then drove off. I didn't go back to that so-called home. Instead, I drove to a luxury apartment I'd wanted. I paid in full. Swiped, signed. Done in under 30 minutes. Holding those keys, I finally felt at home. This place is completely, entirely mine. It has nothing to do with Lu Ziyuan or the Lu family. Standing in the empty living room, I looked out at the glittering city nightscape. And my mind was crystal clear. From today on, I'm nobody's wife. Nobody's daughter-in-law. I'm just Shen Qingwan. A woman holding 2 billion, ready to fight for what I'm owed. Lu Ziyuan, mother-in-law, Lin wanting. Everything you owe me. I will collect it all. Bit by bit. With interest. I tidied up and slept dreamlessly. Before, whenever Lu Ziyuan came home late, I couldn't sleep. Now, without a word from him, I slept more soundly than ever. The next morning, I went to the hospital first. Not to deliver soup, but to print every hospital payment receipt. From day one until now, deposits, examination fees, surgery costs, medication. Every single payment was made by me. I worked myself ragged. Bank records don't lie. Attorney Fong was right. These are ironclad proof that I fulfilled my duty to support this family. In court, this will humiliate the Lu family. Just as I stepped away from the payment window, I ran straight into Lu Ziyuan's cousin. She's from the mother-in-law's side, a nosy meddler. She's the queen of guilt-tripping. One look and her face soured. Her tongue was dripping with accusation. Qingwan, where have you been? Your mother-in-law is in the hospital. And you can't even show up? What will people think? They'll call you an ungrateful wretch. I stopped in my tracks and looked at her calmly. Cousin, I've been at the hospital 10 days. Making soup. Staying overnight. Paying bills. Which part did I miss? Meanwhile, Ziyuan keeps saying he's too busy. How many hours has he actually spent there? Tell me. My pushback caught her off guard. She'd never seen me this fierce. But she recovered fast, all self-righteous. A man must earn a living. Of course he's busy. You're the woman. Taking care of the family. Isn't that your job? She's always wanted a grandchild. And you can't even give her one. Show some respect. It landed right on the one thing I found most laughable. I raised my eyes, voice quiet but clear enough for her to hear. Can't have a baby? Cousin, some things? You'd better ask Ziyuan yourself. Before you get played for a fool defending the wrong person. Her face changed. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing. I smiled faintly and walked right past her. Just a friendly warning. Don't pick your side too early. You might not climb down later. As I walked out of the hospital building, Brother Zhou's call came in. His voice was full of certainty. Miss Shen, all the evidence is in. Lu Ziyuan has made multiple transfers to Lin Wanting. Total comes to over 300,000. All from your marital assets. The child's birth certificate. Cohabitation photos, surveillance footage, witness statements. I've got it all. The last stone in my chest finally hit the ground. Thanks, Brother Zhou. Put everything together and send it to me. I'll transfer the rest now. After hanging up, I sat in my car and went through every piece of evidence carefully. In the photos, Lu Ziyuan was holding that child, smiling so tenderly. The way he looked at Lin Wanting was an intimacy I had never once received in 5 years of marriage. His mother hospitalized? He was never this devoted to me. He never showed this much care. But for another woman's son, he pours out his heart and money like it's nothing. The last shred of hesitation in my heart vanished completely. I drove straight to Attorney Feng's law firm and placed the entire stack of evidence on his desk. Attorney Feng flipped through it, then looked up at me. Ms. Shen, this evidence is more than enough to prove bigamy. A major marital fault. On the financial side, the 300,000 plus he secretly gifted to his mistress. We can recover every cent. The marital home, the savings. You're entitled to at least 70% or more. And you can also claim emotional damages. I nodded. I don't want more. I just want him to leave with nothing. Let him, his precious son, and his mother all pay for what they've done. Attorney Feng paused for a moment. Leave with nothing? Legally, it's hard to rule that directly. But with this evidence, plus hidden assets, affair, secret child. Strong case, he'll get nothing. To get you exactly the outcome you want. I stood up. Then that's the plan. Get the divorce papers ready. I want to deliver them to him myself. I left the law firm, and by then it was already dark. I didn't go back to my apartment. Instead, I drove back to that place, the home Lu Ziyuan and I had shared for 5 years. The lock still worked. I opened the door. The house was pitch black. Only a small lamp glowed. I spotted a hair tie on the shoe cabinet that wasn't mine. Pink. Cheap and glaring. On the coffee table. Half-finished bubble tea, lipstick stain. So he's gotten bold enough to leave his mistress's things out in the open at home. He was here with another woman, in our marital bed. Playing house. A chill shot from my feet to the top of my head. I took a deep breath and forced down the surge of emotions. I printed out the divorce agreement Attorney Feng had sent. Placed it center stage. I left a photograph. In it, Lu Ziyuan was holding his newborn son, smiling with pure satisfaction. After all that, I grabbed my keys, turned around and left. As the door clicked shut, I whispered softly to myself. Lu Ziyuan, your reckoning has arrived. I left that old house without a shred of attachment, drove straight back to the high-end apartment I'd bought entirely with my own money, watching dazzling city lights. I had only one thought, this play is about to reach its final act. These past few days, Lu Ziyuan's calls have been blowing up my phone, text after text on WeChat. From accusations at first, to annoyance later. Panic rising. No reply. No answer. I wanted him to squirm. To have no idea how much I actually knew. The next morning, I arrived at the law firm again. At the time I'd agreed with Attorney Feng. He had already prepared the complete divorce agreement. A thick stack, every single clause, meticulously protecting my interests. Ms. Shen, I've drafted the agreement exactly as you requested. Attorney Feng slid the documents toward me. Clause 1. The marital home goes to you. His parents contributed 50,000. We can compensate morally, but in court, the high probability will not support him to ask for the second one. Joint deposit after marriage. Deduct the portion he privately transferred to a third party. All the rest belongs to you. Article 3. The 360,000 he gave to Lin Wanting. We will sue separately to recover Article 4. Because he cheated on his marriage and lived with someone else and had children. Is a major fault to pay you moral damage. The compensation is 200,000 yuan. I read it word for word. Look up at Lawyer Feng. If he doesn't agree to sign it, then go straight to the proceedings. Lawyer Feng toned firmly. The chain of evidence in your hand is very complete: birth certificate, transfer record, cohabitation video, neighbor testimony. The odds are close to 100% when the time comes. Not only will he lose his fortune, he'll lose his job. You may not be able to keep hearing about your job. The corners of my mouth slightly raised. I know best what Lu Jiuan care about. He has a good face and values his position for fear that others will poke him in the spine. That's how I got him. I picked up the pen. Sign your name on the divorce settlement. The handwriting is clean, then press this. I'll get her out of the firm today. I didn't go straight to the Lu Jiuan. Instead, I went to the hospital. I was going to see someone, my mother-in-law. I went to the door of the ward and I didn't go in immediately, but stood outside the door and listened for a while. Inside came the mother-in-law's weak and eager voice. Ziyuan, did you mention the divorce to Qingwan? Get divorced while she still doesn't know anything. The house deposit is in my hand when the time comes. I took my grandson with me and my family had a good time. Lu Ziyuan voice with a hint of irritability. Mom, I haven't found a chance yet, have I? Qingwan's been so weird lately, not seeing anyone all day. I'm afraid she'll notice something. How about the mother-in-law snorted coldly. She left you, a woman with no background and no skill. Where can she go? She won't have to beg you then. You hurry, don't procrastinate. I'll be there when I get out of the hospital. Hold my big grandson to here. I reached out and pushed open the ward door and both of them were surprised at the same time. Looking at me, my mother-in-law was full of panic and froze for a few seconds. Immediately put on that high face again. Qingwan, you also know. Where the hell have I been these days? I went to the hospital bed. The eyes fell calmly on his face and the voice was not high. But the words are clear, Mom. I have prepared a big gift for you these days. Lu Ziyuan jerked to his feet. Qingwan, what do you mean? I didn't look at him. The sight still stays on the mother-in-law. Didn't you always want to have grandchildren? I confirmed it for you. The boy Lin Wanting gave birth. It is indeed Ziyuan. The birth certificate is clearly written in this sentence. In the ward, the mother-in-law's face turned pale in silence. His lips trembled for a long time and he couldn't say a word. Lu Ziyuan was even more blue in the face. Rush over to grab my hand and Qingwan. You listen to me. It's not what you think. I sideways to hide my eyes as cold as ice. Lu Ziyuan, I don't want to hear an explanation. After 5 years of marriage, I will take care of you and filial piety to your mother. What I got in exchange was that you raised your third child outside. I also calculated with your mother that I wanted me to leave the house clean. Really? My mother-in-law suddenly returned to her mind and began to play tricks on her. Sound sharp, Shen Qingwan. Don't give me a bloody lie. Isn't that just a man? There are some people outside. What rich man don't you as a wife? You should put up with it and say you can't have a baby. We can't break the Lu family. I can't have a baby. I was angry with her. I was married for 5 years. Your son uses overtime as an excuse not to go home every day. Who am I having? Instead, you are using the money I have saved so hard. While calculating my property, your conscience. Won't it hurt? I won't talk to them anymore. Take out the divorce settlement. Dump it in front of Lu Ziyuan and sign it. My tone is indifferent, the house deposit is all mine. The money you transferred to Lin Wanting. I'll come back with a lot of money or a divorce. Decent ending or divorce proceedings, I let you lose your reputation. You lose all your jobs. Choose your own. Lu Ziyuan looked at the terms of the agreement. And looked at my cold eyes. The whole person is stupid. He probably didn't expect to die. The always docile obedient me will suddenly become so tough, so merciless mother-in-law. Lying in bed panting and pointing at me. Half a day can't say a complete sentence, I know. Her dreams are shattered and my life is just beginning. Lu Ziyuan froze in place. Eyes are full of panic and disbelief. He stared at the divorce settlement on the table without saying a word. Mother-in-law lying on the bed, chest violent ups and downs. Just now, most of the spilling energy was released in an instant. Qingwan, when did you know? Lu Ziyuan voice trembling. I looked at him lightly. And you discussed with Mom in the ward. How can I be outside the door on the day I leave the house clean? As soon as these words were spoken, Lu Ziyuan face completely gray. He turned to his mother-in-law with a hint of complaint in his eyes. If my mother-in-law hadn't urged him to calculate me that day, she wouldn't speak so loud. Not to mention that my mother-in-law panicked when I heard it on the spot. Strong support shouting Shen Qingwan. You don't go too far, husband and wife which have not quarrel. Ziyuan is a moment of confusion. As for you, do things so absolutely. I sneer. I wait on you day and night in the hospital. Do I have a good idea of carrying excrement, urine, soup and rice? I live frugally and use my salary to supplement my family's expensive clothes. Are you reluctant to buy me? Are you secretly raising a 3-year-old son to transfer property? I also want to kick me away. That's why my mother-in-law was rejected by me. I was speechless and could only cover my head and shout for a headache. I want to pretend to be sick and hide from it. I don't even eat that. Don't pretend. You know better than anyone else. You look forward to grandson, I understand, but you can't step on my dignity. Helping your son ruin my marriage. Lu Zhiyuan stepped forward, trying to soften the attitude. Qingwan. I know I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. I was just confused for a moment. Lin Wanting was an accident. What I really care about in my heart is still this family or you. You give me one more chance, we live a good life. He said it sincerely. Change it to me before. Maybe I'll be soft, but now I just feel sick. I looked at him. I gave you 5 years. In the past 5 years, I have been sorry for you. You're out there drinking and I'm at home guarding the empty house. I'm worried about the expenses of the family when you spend money on the third. You're holding your bastard son and enjoying your family. I waited on your mother's Lu Zhiyuan at the hospital. Do you deserve me to give you another chance? Lu Zhiyuan lips trembling. I can't say anything against it. I continue to speak. Every word hits him where it hurts. Do you think I'm, or the one before, no background, no money? Can only depend on your Shen Qingwan. You think I can't live without you? Can you handle it? I'll tell you from today on. You think too much. I paused and deliberately pressured him. I have you cheating and having children. All evidence of the transfer of property, photo, video. Transfer records, birth certificates available. My lawyer said that once the charges are filed, not only do you not get a dime, but you also pay me for mental damage. Your work unit, relatives, friends, neighbors. I will let them know what kind of person you are. Lu Zhiyuan's face instantly white. He spent many years in that company. Very not easy to sit on the position of department manager is the most important. Is the reputation and future. Once the affair of having children comes to the company, he will be fired 100%. Don't want to stand in this industry in this life. Qingwan, you can't do this. His voice is shaking. Please stop it and go to the company. I can't work without a job and I can't make a big scene. I pushed the divorce agreement in front of him and signed it. According to the above, to house deposit car. All to me. The money you privately transferred to Lin Wanting, I will recover through legal channels as long as you cooperate. I cannot make a noise to your company. Leave you one last face. My mother-in-law was so anxious that she shouted no. The house can't be given to her. It's the property of our Lu family. I glanced at her coldly and bought a house after marriage. My parents made a down payment of 100,000 yuan, which we paid back together. I've given more to my family than your son over the years. It is clear who is right and who is wrong before the law. If you make trouble again, I wouldn't mind putting the photos and the evidence right now. Send it to your family. My mother-in-law heard at home. She shut up in an instant. She has a good face. Life is most afraid of relatives see jokes. I really want to shake this out. She can't lift her head for the rest of her life. Lu Zhiyuan looked at my eyes. Knowing I wasn't joking, he picked up the pen with his hands shaking. But he didn't fall down for a long time. He knew in his heart that this would go down. He really has nothing. I wait quietly. Don't rush, don't force, I have plenty of patience and plenty of confidence. He has to sign it too. The difference is that it will end in dignity. Or is it a terrible silence in the discredited ward? Only the clock ticking on the wall. Lu Zhiyuan's face lost blood. The eyes are empty, like all the strength has been taken away. He finally understood that he was arbitrarily despised and betrayed. The wife who reckons at will is no longer the one he can handle. And it wasn't just a marriage that he destroyed with his own hands. And his otherwise secure life. Lu Zhiyuan's hand holding the pen kept shaking. The nib hung on the paper for half a day without a word. His forehead was full of cold sweat, his eyes were on the divorce settlement. And my face? His eyes were full of inner turmoil. And a trace of unwillingness. His mother lay in the bed, too scared to even breathe. She just kept shooting Lu Ziyuan desperate looks, begging him not to sign. But Lu Ziyuan, at that moment, couldn't care less about her. His mind was consumed by what I just said. Ruined reputation. Losing his job. Every relative and friend knowing his dirty secrets. Qingwan, is there really no room for mercy? Lu Ziyuan's voice was hoarse, carrying his last shred of pleading. We were husband and wife once. For the sake of what we had. Can't you leave me something? I can give up the house. But leave me part of the savings. I still have a child to raise. Hearing a child to raise sickened me. You raise your bastard. That has nothing to do with me. My voice was ice cold. That money is what we saved. During our marriage. Half of it came from my penny pinching. You took our marital assets to support your mistress. And your outside kid. And now you have the nerve to ask me for it? Lu Ziyuan's face went from red to white at my words. He stayed silent. I pressed my edge. I'm giving you 3 final minutes. Sign, and we end this cleanly. I won't go public. You can still go to work. Start over, live your life. Don't sign. And I'm calling my lawyer right now to file suit. This goes to HR in your family chat. Your choice. With that, I raised my wrist. And stared at my watch, counting down in silence. The hospital room was deathly quiet. Only the ticking of the clock. Every tick hammered against Lu Ziyuan's heart. His mother opened her mouth, but one cold glare from me shut her up. Her lips twitched, but in the end she didn't dare make a sound. 3 minutes passed quickly. I picked up my phone. Ready to dial my lawyer's number. So you've chosen total ruin. Don't. Lu Ziyuan shouted, squeezing his eyes shut. Gritting his teeth, he said, I'll sign. No more hesitation. He gripped the pen and scrawled his name across the divorce agreement. The signature was sloppy and frantic, exactly matching the state he was in. After signing, all strength left him. His hand fell. The pen dropped to the floor. He collapsed into the chair beside him. Eyes empty, face ashen. I picked up the agreement. Examined his signature carefully, and once I confirmed it was valid, slipped it into my bag. Good. At least you know what's good for you. My voice was completely flat. My lawyer will contact you. About the property transfer. It must be done within 3 days. I'll be taking the car. The 360K you transferred to Lin Wanting? My lawyer will sue to recover it. Get ready. My mother-in-law panicked hearing we'd go after that money. That money, it's all been spent on my precious grandson. How could you possibly get it back? Shen Qingwan, don't be so cruel. I looked down at her coldly. This is simply me taking back what's mine. That was marital property. Your son had no right to gift it to his mistress without my consent. The law fully supports me recovering every cent. Either you come up with the money yourselves, or you can wait for the court to enforce collection. I didn't look back at their defeated faces. I turned and left. At the door, I paused, looked back, and said calmly, oh, by the way, from now on, when your mother is hospitalized, caregiving's not my problem now. Deal with it. Lu Ziyuan's head snapped up, his eyes bloodshot. Glaring at me, wanting to say something. But not a single word could come out. He had no right to curse me. Begging failed. He could only watch me walk out of his life, step by step. Out of the hospital building. The sunlight poured over me, warm and gentle. I took a deep breath. The air was filled with the scent of freedom. 5 years of marriage. All the suffering, sacrifice. It all ended now. No reluctance at all. I drove away, not returning to the old house. And I didn't go to the new apartment either. I went to the dealership. I paid in full for a car I had stared at countless times before, but never bought. When I swiped my card, I felt no turmoil in my heart. Just calm certainty. This is how it should be. Saving, caring, planning. But in the end, the money I saved was taken by my husband to support another woman. The home I poured my heart and soul into maintaining became the knife that stabbed my back. Now I get it. The one a woman should cherish most is herself. Leaving the dealership, windows down. The wind brushed against my cheeks. On my phone, Attorney Fong sent a message, agreement received and confirmed. Property transfer ready. I replied one word. Good. Just then, I suddenly remembered. There was still one thing I hadn't told Lu Ziyuan. Something that would completely shatter him, make him drown in regret. The corner of my lips curved up slightly into a cold smile. Lu Ziyuan, you thought this was over? The real shock is still coming. I drove my new car. Without a moment's hesitation, straight back to that place I once called home. I hadn't unbound the keypad. I entered that familiar code. Beep. The door swung open. The place was a complete wreck. The divorce papers and photos I left in the morning. There are also several crumpled cigarette butts scattered beside the tea table. It can be seen. After Lu Ziyuan came back from the hospital, suffering here for a long time. I didn't pack anything that belonged to me, clothes, daily necessities. Small ornaments, these things. From the moment I held the 2 billion. It's not worth mentioning. I'll be back today. Only one purpose waiting for him. I sat on the sofa. Quietly waiting without waiting too long. A rapid password input sound came from the door lock. The door was thrust open with the sound of a panic key crash. Lu Ziyuan rushed in with messy hair. Bloodshot eyes. Faces unable to hide the panic and fatigue. He probably ran all the way back from the hospital. I didn't even wear my coat neatly and saw me sitting in the guest room. He froze at the door and breathed. You. Why are you here? His voice is dry. I looked up at him. I look calm and almost indifferent. I have something to wait for you when I come back. It's time to figure it out with you. Lu Ziyuan closed the door. Step by step, move in front of me and look at me with complicated eyes. There is hatred and fear. And a hint of a house of remorse that he wouldn't even admit to himself. I signed the car deposit as you said. What else do you want? In his tone. With a broken jar of despair. I didn't answer his question. Instead, he pointed to the divorce agreement on the coffee table. You think I'm tough just because you're cheating? Is your mother calculating me so simple? Lu Ziyuan frown, or what else can there be? I watched the corners of his mouth slowly evoke a wipe. Enough to make him laugh. Lu Ziyuan, you keep thinking. I can't live without you. I don't think I have any background or money. Can only depend on you, right? His face changed slightly. Not speaking is the default. I picked up the phone. Click on the bank card and turn the screen to him. The long series of numbers clearly caught his eye. The balance of 2 billion and 3,000 yuan is eye-catching and dazzling. Lu Ziyuan's eyes fall on the screen. First, I was stunned for a second, then the pupil suddenly contracted. The whole figure was struck by a thunderbolt. Frozen in place, motionless. This. His voice was shaking so badly that he was almost out of tune. I won the lottery, and I'm understatement. As if to say a trivial matter of ordinary deduction of tax. Whole 2 billion. The day I went to the hospital to deliver soup to your mother. Just after the award was paid, the air solidified instantly. Lu Ziyuan stood there in a daze. Staring at the mobile phone screen with eyes from shock to disbelief. And then to the last bit of madness is endless remorse. And despair swallowed him open, his mouth to say something. But can't spit out a word. He never dreamed that he would be rejected and unable to have children. He and his mother calculated to go out of the house. The wife he used as a free nanny. It's even more ironic that I won the 2 billion's huge prize. The day I won the lottery was the day I was outside the ward door. The day I heard him discussing with his mother-in-law how to kick me off. I took it with joy and wanted to share it with him. This windfall from heaven wants to change trains for him and treat his mother-in-law. I bought a big house for my family. But it was his betrayal and calculation and a sentence to let her clean out of the house. You already won the lottery. Lu Zhiyuan finally got their voice back. You were shaking so much that day when you went to the hospital to deliver soup. Is my nodding tone calm but the word cone heart? I was gonna tell you and Mom. Take out some money to treat Mom and the rest. We had a good time, but what did I hear? You and your mother are in there figuring out how to get me nothing. How do I live a good life with my third child and illegitimate child? I have a good time. Looking at his face as if dead, he continued. So the moment I poured the soup, I knew. I've divorced your money for this marriage. I don't want it. I have 2 billion. Why should I be wronged here? Be held by your mother and son. Lu Zhiyuan body jerked. Stumbling back a step against the wall. He sat on the ground with his head in his hands, painfully clutching his own hair. The throat made a depressing whimpering sound. Qingwan, I was wrong. I was really wrong. His voice was hoarse. With heartbreaking regrets, I am not a human being. I am obsessed with ghosts. You forgive me this time we start again. I broke with Lin Wanting. I will treat you well after I break up with that child. With all his heart on you, he's on his knees and he's trying to get close to me. Want to pull my hand, posture humble to Zayli. And the man who was high above me before. I just took back my hand coldly and stood up. Lu Zhiyuan late. I looked at him condescending without hate in his eyes. No resentment, only a complete indifference. The moment you choose to betray me. The moment you and your mother set me up between us. Completely finished what you want. It's a babysitter who can give you a son. And now I'm holding the 2 billion. The Shenqing one that will never look back. We were never passers-by to finish this sentence. I stopped looking at him and turned to the door. Behind him came Lu Zhiyuan, crumbling cries and repentance. But my footsteps did not stop. I opened the door. He stepped out and gently brought it inside the door. Is his broken life endless regret? And never undo the ending outside the door? Is my new life bright future? And really belong to my freedom out of the old home that moment? I didn't look back. Corridor also echoed with the collapse of the Lu Zhiyuan cry. Those heart-piercing confessions and pleas. It won't hurt me anymore. I sat in the new car I just mentioned. Close the door, the whole world instantly quiet down. Start the car, the house in the rearview mirror that's trapped me for 5 years. Getting farther and farther away and finally disappear in sight. Instead of leaving immediately, I parked my car outside the neighborhood. Sit quietly for a while, this picture of 5 years. Like a movie in my mind when I first got married. His sweet words on weekdays, I save the grievance of frugality. My mother-in-law is dissatisfied with my choice of 3 buildings and 4 buildings. And the hard work I've been serving day and night in the hospital. All at the moment when he cheated and had a child. I used to think that marriage was dependent on family is the end result, and then I realized that women's real confidence. Never a husband's loving mother-in-law's approval. But the money in his hand, the hard eyes in his heart. The phone rang gently. It's a message from Detective Zhou. Lin Wanting learned that the Lu Zhiyuan was clean and out of the house. After nothing, there was a big scene on the spot. Holding the baby to break up and threatening to pay child support. The two of them have been very busy. I will delete them after reading them. There are no waves. That's their sin. It didn't take long for them to taste it on their own. Lawyer Feng also called Ms. Shen. The divorce agreement has taken effect and the real estate transfer procedures are being processed. There is no objection to Feng's cooperation in the whole process. In addition, there is sufficient evidence of your husband's transfer of money to a third party. The success rate of recovery is very high. I gave a faint cry of hard work. Just follow the procedure and hang up the phone. I'll take a deep breath. Start the car and drive to the fancy apartment I bought in full. Landing outside the window, city lights bright. That's my prosperity. I don't have to worry about money at last. You don't have to look at anyone's face anymore. You don't have to feel wronged. To please others, I took out my cell phone. Take Lu Zhiyuan mother-in-law. All relatives contact Feng style delete all Lahe. From then on, the mountains and rivers did not meet each other. Later, I heard that my mother-in-law learned that I had won the 2 billion. See Lu Zhiyuan and Lin Wanting turn against each other again. The second hospitalization was aggravated by anger on the spot. No one can only pay for care. Lu Zhiyuan lost most of his fortune. Work in jeopardy. On the one hand, I have to deal with my mother-in-law's medical expenses. One side to be Lin Wanting. After chasing for alimony, I was so worried that my intestines were green. He once asked relatives to come to me and ask for a time. I directly let people shut out. I never saw them again and never let them. In my life, I used some of my money. I changed my parents to a spacious and comfortable house and took them to have a physical examination. The rest of the travel funds to professional institutions to take care. Qian Qingqian has no worries about food and clothing all his life. I am no longer that. Circling around the family. The Shenqingwan of humble forbearance. I got a new job, a new circle, a workout every day. Read and learn to see friends. Make up for what you once owed yourself. I often think of that day when the sun shines on me. At the gate of the hospital, I was silent for 3 seconds and poured the soup into the trash can. Also poured out my 5 years of infatuation and pay that bowl of soup. What is poured out is grievance, obsession, or wrong payment. In exchange for rebirth is freedom as I hold in the hand. No one can take away the 2 billion of life, the best ending of marriage. Never submit to humiliation but stop loss in time. If you can't change people's hearts, you'll turn around for the rest of your life. I only live for myself and live beautifully and calmly. Living so that no one can cheat. The days are passing day by day. My new life is getting on track. I decorated that apartment in the style I like. Simple and bright every corner. There is a piano in the living room with ease and comfort. I wanted to learn it when I was a child, but I never had the chance to learn it. Now I can finally get the best teacher. Slowly pick up this craft. I no longer rush home to cook. No longer waiting for someone who doesn't come home. No longer haggle over every ounce in the vegetable market in order to save a few dollars. I started to enjoy life and learn to be nice to myself. One day I was shopping in the mall. I saw a familiar figure in the distance. Is Lu Zhiyuan's cousin. She was going through her clothes at a discount store and saw me. Her eyes became complicated for a moment. She hesitated. Still walked over to Qingwan. She called out to me. There's no such thing as bossing around in the tone. A little more careful to please me to stop. Look at her calmly. You're doing fine now. She looked me up and down and her eyes fell into my hands. The shopping bag he was carrying was a luxury brand bag. She's only seen it in magazines before. It's not bad. I smiled faintly. She opened her mouth and seemed to want to say something. She swallowed it back and finally she sighed and whispered. Qingwan, things before. Auntie and Ziyuan were wrong about you. Don't take it to heart. My cousin's past is past. I looked at her. The tone is calm. I'm doing well now. Those things don't matter to me anymore. She nodded and hesitated. Finally, she didn't hold back. He whispered to Ziyuan now. It's a miserable job. Lin Wanting also ran away. My aunt is still lying in the hospital. He spends all day drinking to drown his sorrows. The whole person is waste. I listened to the face. Cousin, it's his choice. I said calmly. Everyone has to pay for their choices. He chose to betray and calculate the result now. He deserves it. Cousin choked on my words. I couldn't speak for a long time. I didn't say more to her. Nodded politely and turned away and walked out of the mall. The sun just shines on the body warm. I took a deep breath. The air is filled with the coolness of early autumn and the sweet fragrance of sweet osmanthus. At that moment, my heart did not hate, no resentment. Only an unprecedented Qingming. How is Lu Zhiyuan? It has nothing to do with me. His downfall, his remorse. His pain is the fruit of his own cause. I don't need to gloat or fall. I just need to live my own life is enough. After a while, I got a strange phone call. The other end of the phone is a young woman's voice. Are you Shen Qingwan with crying? I am who you are. I was Lin Wanting. I was stunned. Then calmed down. What can I do for you? I wanted to say I'm sorry. Her voice was so intermittent. With a sob. I know I shouldn't have gotten into your marriage with Ziyuan. But I, too, was cheated. He told me. You have no feelings for a long time, said you were going to divorce soon. I was young and didn't understand, so I believed him. I listened. There were not too many waves in my heart. Later, I asked. Then he lost everything and started to lose his temper with me. And hit me. Her voice is getting smaller and smaller. I took the baby and now I'm alone with the baby. It was hard. I was silent for a few seconds. Lin Wanting. What happened between you and Lu Ziyuan? It has nothing to do with me. My voice is calm and cold. You chose to be with him. You should bear the consequences. I don't feel for you. I won't help you either. Don't contact me after you go. The phone was silent for a long time. Finally came a low sorry. I put down the phone in the mind without a trace of fluctuations. I don't hate Lin Wanting. But I won't forgive her. She's an adult. Every choice she makes is her own. She chose to be with a married man. Choosing to have a child who is not protected by law. You should bear the consequences of these choices yourself. I'm not a virgin. No obligation to save every misguided person. I just take care of myself is enough. The days went by and I started a new job. Instead of working for others, I started my own company. What is done is that the cultural media Fong. It happens to be my major in college. I used to be married. I gave up my career now because of family. I can finally pick it up again. The company is not big. But every employee is carefully selected by me. We work overtime together and have a meeting together. Stay up until dawn for a project. Tired is a little tired, but every day is very full. It makes sense. I'm no longer the one around the stove. The turn of the Shen Qingwan. I am an entrepreneur and a boss. A man who really controls his life one day. A new intern girl just graduated from the company. It's also quick to do things. After she gets acquainted with me. Once I couldn't help asking me, Mr. Shen, how outstanding you are. Why have you been single all the time? Is it too demanding? I smiled and did not give a positive answer. It was not demanding. I paused, but I haven't met the right person yet. What kind of person is right? She blinked. A face of curiosity. I wanted to think seriously to say the right person. It's someone who makes you feel better to be with him than alone. If a person can't make you better and happier, then why are we together, little girl? I nodded vaguely. I didn't explain any more. Some truth only experienced will understand, I once thought. Marriage is the end result of a woman, and then I realized. True home is never another person. It's you, when you're strong enough and independent enough. You don't have to cling to anyone when you're sober enough. You can choose to be with someone. You can also choose a person no matter how to choose. You have the strength and ability to make yourself well. This is my current state. I do not reject love. I don't reject marriage, but I won't be like before. For a person to lose his heart and lung. If one day I really met the right person, I'll be with him, but I'll stay awake. Stay independent. I won't let anyone else take control of my life and never let anyone hurt me again. It doesn't matter if I don't meet you. I'm alone. You can also pass well. Time passes quickly. In the twinkling of an eye, it was a year. In this year, I heard some news about Lu Ziyuan. He's completely lost his job. The cheating and having children. After he got into the company, he was fired from the industry. His reputation stinks too. No company. Willing to have him again. He rented a small house. Living on odd jobs. Mother-in-law is getting sick. The medical bills weighed him down. Lin Wanting left with the child. I heard that he married a foreigner and never contacted him again. He once asked several people to come to me. Want to give him a hand for old time's sake. I didn't see it once and didn't respond. It's not that I'm cruel, it's that I don't owe him anything. He chose to betray, he chose to calculate. Think of our marriage as a deal now. He lost a mess. That's his own business. I won't be softened by his downfall. Nor will some people turn back because of his plea. Once missed, it is a lifetime. Once some roads go wrong. Just can't go back to the head one day. I met an old friend in the street. She's a former neighbor of our neighborhood. Know me and Lu Jiuan very well. Qingwan, she sees me. I was pleasantly surprised. I haven't seen you for a long time. You have changed a lot. I almost didn't recognize it. I smiled, didn't I? What changed? Temperament. She looked me up and down. You used to always pull a long face. Now the whole people are shining. You must be doing well. I nodded and she hesitated. She lowered her voice and said, by the way, have you heard about Ziyuan? I have. He's been in rough shape lately, she sighed. He drinks daily. Got a bleeding ulcer. His mother got discharged too. She's living with him now. They fight constantly. Sometimes when he's drunk, he just sobs and calls your name, saying he's sorry. I listened. My face showed nothing. Those were his choices. I stayed calm. My friend held back words. Finally, she just sighed. Yeah. If he'd treasured you back then, he wouldn't have ended up like this. We exchanged pleasantries and parted. On the way home, I drove through an intersection. The light turned red. I stopped and waited. Through the window, I spotted a familiar figure on the sidewalk. It was Lu Jiuan. He'd lost so much weight. He looked completely wrecked. Wearing a wrinkled jacket, hair a mess. He hadn't shaved. In his hand, a plastic bag. Inside were a few steamed buns and a bottle of water. He shuffled along the curb. He didn't see me. The light turned green. I hit the gas. The car rolled through the intersection. In the rearview mirror, his figure got smaller and smaller, blurrier and blurrier. He vanished into the crowd. I didn't look back. There was no hate in my heart, no resentment, no pity. Just a quiet sense of closure. Some people are only meant to be passing through your life. They come, leave their mark, and then they go. You don't need to wait for them. You don't need to look back. You just keep moving forward. Toward your own light and your own future. Back at my apartment, I changed into comfortable loungewear and made a cup of tea. I sat by the window reading. The city glittered. A million lights, all of them glowing. I set the book down. Staring at those lights, I suddenly remembered a year ago. That version of me in the hospital hallway. Back then, I was holding a thermos of soup, my heart full of hope. Full of joy. I thought my life was finally about to get better. I thought I could finally share this incredible news with my husband. But what I got instead was betrayal, scheming, and pain. I thought my world collapsed. Looking back now, that wasn't my world falling apart. It was the moment I was reborn. Without those 3 seconds of silence. Without that thermos of soup dumped in the trash. Without that instant of clarity and resolve. Where would I be right now? Probably still spinning in circles around that family. The meek, submissive Shen Qingwan. Still being manipulated by Lu Ziyuan and his mother. Still groveling for scraps of so-called family warmth. Thank God I woke up. Thank God I chose myself. I picked up my teacup and took a small sip. The fragrance of tea lingered on my lips, warm and peaceful. My phone buzzed. A message from Attorney Fong. Miss Shen, the lawsuit to recover your funds has been won. The 360,000 will be returned to your account shortly. I replied with one word, good. then set the phone down. I leaned back into the sofa and closed my eyes. City lights still glittered outside. Inside, music flowed softly through the room. My life finally belonged entirely to me. Later on, I heard a few things about Lu Ziyuan. He left the city for good. Went somewhere far away. Some said he went south to work as a laborer. Some said he went back to his hometown to farm. Some even said he became a monk. No one knows where he actually ended up. And no one cares. His cousin posts wistful reflections, life is unpredictable. Karma always comes around, that sort of thing. Every time I see them, I just swipe past without a single comment. His mother. She got out but never fully recovered. After Lu Ziyuan left, she had to survive on her pension alone, plus whatever handouts relatives were willing to give. I heard she often sits on the bench in her neighborhood, watching other people's grandchildren run around, her eyes full of envy and regret. One time, an old friend came to visit her, and she grabbed the woman's hands, sobbing, "It's all my fault. If I hadn't pushed Ziyuan to divorce Qingwan back then, I wouldn't have ended up like this. Qingwan was such a good daughter-in-law. I was completely blind." By the time those words reached my ears, I was in a meeting at the office. My secretary cautiously brought it up, clearly trying to gauge my reaction. I set down the file in my hands and said flatly, "That's all in the past now." My secretary took the hint. Meeting went on. I went back to discussing project plans with my colleagues. All that old baggage, it truly is behind me now. I don't hate his mother. I don't resent her either. She's just an old woman shackled by outdated beliefs. She thought a grandson mattered most. She was wrong. But she's already paid for that mistake with the rest of her life. There's no need for me to hold on to anything anymore. As for Lu Ziyuan, I don't feel a thing. No hate, no resentment, no thoughts, no questions. He was just a passerby in my life. He gave me some beautiful memories once. And some deep wounds too. But all of that is behind me now. My life today has nothing to do with him. One day, a friend of mine asked me, "Qingwan, are you really not going to find someone new?" I just smiled. "Whatever happens, happens. If the right person comes along, I'll consider it. But I won't get married just for the sake of getting married. So, are you happy now?" I thought about it for a moment, and answered seriously. "Very happy. I have a job I love, a comfortable home, a healthy body, and parents who love me. I'm not lacking anything." My friend looked at me and nodded. "You've changed. Have I? The old you always lived for other people. Now, you've finally learned to live for yourself." I smiled. I didn't deny it. Yeah, I've finally learned to live for myself. It took me 5 years and one hell of a fall to figure that out. But it's not too late. Life is long. I still have plenty of time to enjoy it, to experience it, to go after everything I want. I'm done rushing down the road. Done chasing after things. I just want to walk slowly now. Take in the scenery along the way. Feel every little detail of life. When the sun hits my skin, I think about that afternoon when I poured out the soup. That was the darkest moment of my life. And the most clear-headed one too. That bowl of soup. What I poured out was the past. What I got back was the future. Later on, I moved out of that high-end apartment to a quieter place. A small villa with a garden. The yard is full of flowers and plants. The first thing I do every morning when I wake up is water them and trim the leaves. I love watching them grow slowly in the sunlight. That feeling of thriving life makes me feel so full of hope. I also adopted a cat. An orange and white stray I found in my neighborhood. He's super clingy. Every time I sit on the couch reading, he jumps up and curls on my lap, purring away. Sometimes, I hold him and sit in the yard soaking up the sun. One sit lasts a whole afternoon. The sun is warm. The cat purrs in my arms. The breeze blows, carrying the scent of flowers. In those moments, I think to myself, life is truly good. No betrayal, no scheming, no fighting, no grievances. Just peace, ease, and serenity. One day, while I was trimming the roses in my yard, a little girl from next door leaned on the fence watching me. Ma'am, your flowers are so pretty, she said, blinking her big eyes. I smiled and picked one to hand to her. For you. She took it happily. And said a sweet thank you. Then, she skipped all the way home, watching her back. A soft feeling suddenly rose in my heart. Maybe one day, I'll have a child too. Or maybe not. Either way, I'll love myself well, and love life well. Those old wounds. They've become part of who I am now. They haven't disappeared, but they don't hurt anymore. They just lie there quietly, reminding me how far I've come, making me treasure everything I have now even more. I don't regret meeting Lu Ziyuan. I don't regret those 5 years I gave. All of it made me who I am today, clearer, stronger, better at loving myself. The sunlight outside is just right. Flowers bloom, cat sleeps, breeze blows. Opening a new book. On the first page, there's a line. May you stay young at heart. And gently turn the page. I'm not young anymore, but my heart. Still young. Still hopeful. The people who hurt me have vanished into the crowd. The things that once tormented me have faded into distant memories. And I'm still moving forward. Heading to places farther away, seeing more beautiful views. Becoming a better version of myself. This is my story. A story of betrayal, pain, awakening, and rebirth. If you're going through something similar, I want to tell you. Don't be afraid. You are much stronger than you think. What doesn't break you will only make you stronger. Don't cry for those unworthy. You deserve a better life. You deserve to be truly cherished. If that person won't cherish you, then cherish yourself. If it hurts, walk away. You have the right to choose how you live. You have the right to pursue your own happiness. Don't let anyone else define your life. Your life belongs to you alone. And that's where the story really ends. I'm well. I'll do better. The things from the past, let them stay in the past. I'm moving forward now, with a smile, with courage, with hope for the future. The sun is warm, the breeze is soft. This is the best time of my life.